Hey, what's up, guys? Clayton Getz and John Tiller here, coming back at you with, man, what is the missing ingredient? What is the number one hack, if you will, to finally successfully and profitably scaling your real estate business? And we believe it is the squad leader position. John and I have spent the better part of the past 20 years, 40 plus years, when you combine how long we've been playing this game, really trying to figure out, what is the best way to scale a real estate business. And we came across this. One of our partners in the industry was running these squads within his team. And we reached out to him and said, hey, tell us more about this squad leader position. And when he broke it down, we were like, that's it. That's it. That is the missing ingredient. Right. So what we're going to do today is break down what that position, what it looks like, what does it take to become a squad leader on our team or potentially on your team, and then why would one of your agents want to be in that position of leadership as well? So JT, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, man. I've always thought ever since I first started a team and I had a vision to lead a team, growing big, I knew had problems with it. I never wanted to grow big to grow big. I wanted to grow to have a bigger impact. And I think there's a key difference in that. And I think the number one thing that we struggle with is A, how do we grow with a limited resource as one leader? And B, how do we make sure as we grow big and we bring on leaders, if the answer is to bring on other leaders, how do we bring on those leaders? And how do we make sure that we maintain our core values? How do we make sure that we maintain our mission and that everybody stays, that the organization stays organizationally strong? Because I've seen a lot of organizations that have grown beyond their leadership capacity, if you will, and they grew and it was okay, but it was not sustainable because it was not built on a strong foundation of leadership. And so we've been testing, like you said, Clayton, we've been testing these squad leader models for many years, for over a decade for sure. And we start, it's a team leader model, right? Some kind of, not the leader of the real estate team, but team leaders within the real estate team. And that's why we call them squad leaders, is so that, we don't get that confused. But we've done different iterations and different versions of this over the years. And like you said, Clayton, our partner who shared with us his key ingredients to that model, he really gave us some really interesting things that we'll share that have just kind of put our model on steroids and really have it dialed in now. So you're sharing this level 4 screen. Level 4, for those of you who haven't seen the 6 levels of growing your team, that's another video that we have at Proximity Network. Level 4 is the place where you go from level 3, which is, go ahead back to level 3, 100 to 200 transactions. This is where you want to start thinking about who your first leader is going to be for your team. You can get to 100 transactions as an agent with sales partners that you're growing. In fact, you have to do the work to get to 100 to do that. And as you're growing to 200 and beyond, this is where you start identifying and placing your squad leaders to eventually have a level 4 organization. Clayton, if you'll scroll there, and you have mentors also, and we'll describe the difference between those. But they're the number one missing ingredient to every real estate team that we coach, that we see, and our real estate teams as we built them. So yeah. Anything else you want to add to that, Clayton?
No, it's just, John, I wish that we would have found out about this model, the squad leader model, years and years and years ago, because I ran a team of, anywhere from 10 to 17, 18 agents. And I just couldn't figure out how to break through to the next level. And as we implemented this squad leader role, that's when our business really started to grow. So I'm excited for you to break this thing down for us.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the number one reason why you want to do this. Look, raising up leaders, hiring leaders, it's not easy. Like, it's still hard work. It's just a higher level of work. It allows you to break through that barrier of growth. And that's the one that we see with so many people. And what we also see with a lot of the folks that we coach, a lot of the team leaders that we coach, that they're afraid, they're like, I don't want to grow a big team because, I wanted to maintain the culture. I wanted to maintain the values that we have as a small team, and I just can't do that with a big team. And if I can, if I can have permission to just push back on that a little bit, if that's you, the answer is you've just got to raise your leadership lid. It's okay if you don't want to. It is okay to do that, but you won't be able to have as big an impact with a small team as you will with a large team. And what's the key to growing a large team that keeps its culture, its mission, and its core values? Well, the key is to grow small so that you can grow big. Grow small so that you can grow big. And that's what squad leaders and mentors do for you as you train them up. It also provides friendly competition. The problem with a small team is people get used to each other, they get used to their rhythms, and they get used to how they do things. And quite honestly, without something fresh and without something new and without growth on a team, you're always going to have the limitation of, hey, we're just, whether it's said or spoken or unspoken, we're just doing things the way we've always done them because it worked for us in the past. And how many real estate teams and other businesses and organizations have you seen get passed by because they didn't grow? So let's talk about what that position looks like and what the requirements are of that position. So in summary, what the squad leader does is they provide daily accountability and go-to frontline support for agents on their squad. And what we've learned, and if you look over history at any organization, Clayton, you were just saying that having 17 people on your team, it's just impossible to manage them all. The truth is that no one should have more than 6 to 12 direct reports. If you had, and even less is even better, because then you can have focus on investing in those direct reports. If you have more than a dozen direct reports, you're just not able to give them the attention and the leadership development that they need from you, the time and attention that they need from you. And so our squad leaders are designed to have up to 12 agents on their squad and be the frontline support. Now, if your team is like our team and you have a lot of new agents that come in on the team where you raise them up, remove the distractions, show them how to do real estate, you're also going to want to consider a mentor position that gets them through their first few transactions and holds their hand through those, because that's something that's probably more than what a squad leader can do if the squad leader's in production. And that just brings us to the squad leader's expectations. Our number one expectation for our squad leaders is to achieve their own production goals, to maintain or exceed their own production. You see, the teacher always learns more than the student. The truth is, and every one of our squad leaders would tell you, that they are better because they are teaching others and holding others accountable to doing the things they need to do to grow their business. And so at the end of this, we're going to talk about all the reasons why a squad leader or an agent on your team who has leadership capacity, why they would want to be a squad leader. But that's actually the number one reason, is if I'm coaching somebody else on what I'm doing, I actually do it better. And so that's their number one goal, is to maintain their own production, which also is huge for your business. Your business may not be able to afford to pull somebody out of production right now to pull your best leaders out of production to do that. And just so many good things about having squad leaders who are in production. They're modeling for the people that are on their team, on their squad. They're modeling what production looks like, and they're being held to a higher standard because they're the teacher. The other expectations we have scorecards for each of our, for all of the functions that our agents do, and all of the functions that they have. And we have on our own scorecards, we have 4 of them for an agent, and the squad leader is ultimately responsible for that, for success on the scorecard for the agents on their squad. For us, that's follow-up. We use systems like Sisu and Sierra. Doesn't matter what CRM or what kind of financial tracking software that you're using. Those are the ones that we use. There are metrics that each agent has an expectation to meet, and the squad leader has an expectation for the entire squad to meet those. Also, huddle attendance. So squad leaders, now listen, if you're going to give somebody the responsibility of a squad, of leadership on a squad, you have to also give them the authority. You can't give them the responsibility without giving them the authority. And you have to make sure that you know what those boundaries are. So we have a clear position description that shares these expectations, but also gives them the authority to, when an agent is not performing minimum expectations, when they're not showing up. If an agent decides that they're not going to show up, then the squad leader has all the authority to be able to say, listen, you don't have to go home, but you have to go. In other words, you can't be on my squad anymore. Because agents who show up to daily accountability on those squads and who haven't completed the activities that they were supposed to complete for that day, they're dragging down the rest of the team. No, you have A players who just haven't gotten into production yet, they're early in their careers. A players don't hang with C players. If you got C players who are coming in and making excuses every day they come in on the huddle, oh yeah, I didn't make my contacts, or I didn't post my social videos today, or whatever it is, whatever the expectation was that they committed to, and then they come back and they make excuses about it, then the squad leader is encouraged, doesn't only have the authority, but I'm coaching them. You gotta tell people if they're gonna play like C players, you can't be on my squad. Now, for those of you who are familiar with DISC personalities and some of the best leaders, you have some S personality in you, and you want to support. You're the encourager and you're the cheerleader. That's some of the best squad leaders out there. And you're saying, well, but what if they have a good reason for not coming? So anybody can take a timeout, right? Like, so any agent can say, listen, I have a life experience right now that I'm just not able to show up with my best game. And then your job as a leader, we coach the squad leaders with this. Oh, great. Hey, agent, listen, I'm really sorry you're going through that. Let's define the time frame that you need a timeout from your expectations. And then when we're on, let's be on. And you don't even have to come to the huddles because you're not able to meet the expectation. Just take a break from them. And when you can come back, come back. That's great. And so those are the kind of leadership things that we can teach squad leaders that can help us maintain our mission and our core values. One of our core values, Clayton, is fanatical follow-up. And that's really where this is lived out in the daily huddle.
Well, so, JT, real quick,
ahead,
I apologize. So I just want to, and you just nailed it, by the way, by saying one of our core values is fanatical follow-up. So you can actually solve a lot of the issues that could potentially pop up in these squads with agents not performing, underperforming, or not showing up on the front end, right? So, and just, be on the lookout for another training where we talk about the importance of the core value filter, the importance of having core values, the importance of the core value filter, and pushing your potential agents that you're going to hire through that filter. When we got really serious about hiring the right people, that's when a lot of these issues went away as well.
That's exactly right. And when the squad is just the continuity to the hiring process, right? And upgrading our hiring process made our squad leaders a lot happier. Nobody wants a squad or a team of agents who aren't motivated. And so many times we don't run them through that filter, and you can't motivate somebody, right? What do we always say, Clayton? If you motivate an idiot, what do you have?
Motivated idiot.
Yeah, and we don't want that. So we want to hire well. So the third thing that the squad leader does is in that frontline support role, is they answer all technical questions for the squad members after they're through that mentoring period of their first few transactions. And then every week, just like we shared, they do daily huddles. Now, our daily huddles aren't actually daily. In our business, what we found is that Tuesday through Thursday are the best days to do daily huddles, and we do them in the morning. And the daily huddle is 15 minutes. It starts on time, it ends on time. Agents are expected to be there. They have a minimum number of huddles that they are expected to be at. It's nobody makes everything. Nobody's perfect on any scorecard, but they're not meeting their expectation if they miss more than 2 huddles a month. There's 3 huddles a week. If we're asking you to not miss more than 2 a month. This is important. It's only 15 minutes, and the flow of the huddle is number one. Yes or no, no stories. Did you do what you said was most important yesterday? It's an accountability piece, right? And when we're talking about your real estate business, did you do what was most important, yes or no? And then there's some level of coaching in the middle, generally based on what the squad leader has been coaching agents from the day before, any struggles that they might be having. And then they end it with what's most important today for your real estate business. And that generally is quantified with how many calls or how many hours are you going to be reaching out, or how many social videos. It's got to be measurable action items for today that are real estate related. And we all know that as team leaders, success is boring. So, you do that a few times. Your biggest challenge is bringing fresh ways to do the same thing. But the funny thing is, we all need that accountability, and we all need it on a consistent basis. And I'm going to do my social videos and I'm going to make my calls today. If I don't feel like it, but I know tomorrow I have to come and I have to say, hey, I did it or I didn't do it, and I know the rest of my squad is doing it, then I'm going to do it today, right? There's that peer accountability that's just so important in our business. In addition to that, one of the things that we do for coaching so that squad leaders are not always getting got a minute calls, because again, they're in their own production. They have a weekly help desk. Every day there's a help desk from 2 to 3 is the hour that works at our office. And there is a squad leader or sales manager or leader on our team who is staffing that help desk. It's a Zoom call that happens. So if you need, it's basically office hours, right? So if you need an answer to your question in real estate, there's no real emergency. Like nobody's dying. There's no life-threatening emergency. Almost every question can wait until 2:00 this afternoon. And so if it can't, that's fine. Then we have a whole team of squad leaders that agents have access to, starting with their own. And that help desk though kind of helps us batch process, if you will, all of the agent questions at one time. And each squad leader they're on a rotating basis to staff that help desk. And so the amount of time that they're actually fielding questions is minimized. So again, they can focus on their own production. And then they also have leadership meetings with our sales manager every week. Level 10 meetings is what we call those. We have a process that we go through to manage issues that we've talked about before. Traction, elite execution system. We've kind of put our own spin on all of that we've begun to brand the proximity playbook. And so that's an expectation though, that once a week the leadership gets together for 90 minutes to work through issues. So before I go into monthly and quarterly responsibilities, Clayton, anything to add to that?
Nope, doing great, JT.
Yeah, so every month, and I'm just going to go through this list really quick of what we expect of them. They lead one-on-one meetings with their own squad members. So this is really important. Again, growing big by growing small. Each agent has to have a monthly one-on-one alignment meeting with their leader. Now, if you're the leader and you have 17 agents, that's really hard to have 17 meetings per month. If you have 40 agents, even worse, right? Like the math doesn't work. You can't have those one-on-one meetings. But if you have 6 to 12 agents, you can schedule one-on-one meetings. We have our squad leaders do that a day or two a month, where they just schedule them back to back, and they know that that's the day that they're gonna do that. And those alignment meetings are to almost the same thing as the huddle, except on a monthly basis, to say, hey, last month you said that these were your goals and this is where you're tracking. We review a scorecard to see how you're doing tracking towards your annual goals. What can I do to help is what the squad leader's question is to them in that one-on-one meeting. And then there are takeaways, action items to complete no later than the next alignment meeting. And so those meetings have a pretty simple format. They're documented, they're in writing, so that they can come back next month and they can say, hey, last month you said you were going to take these 3 action items. How did that go? And of course, if an agent keeps coming back month after month and says, oh yeah, I didn't really get around to that. Well, then the question is, well, let's talk about what's the issue here. Is the team a good fit for you, or should you go be an independent agent who doesn't have accountability to anything and kind of go do your own thing, right? And so eventually it gets there. And they are, we just making an agreement that you're just the team's not a great fit for you. You're not a great fit for the team. And so we love you, but we're going to cancel your team agreement, and you can be an independent agent with our brokerage. And then, move on from there if you need to. Okay. So also monthly, the squad leader has a one-on-one meeting for their own coaching with the sales manager in our organization. Now, that might be you as the team leader that the squad leaders report to, but whoever the squad leaders report to, they attend their own one-on-one meeting once a month. We have role play sessions at 9 a.m. So our huddles are done by 9 a.m. They're generally done between 8, sometime for 15 minutes between 8 and 9. Each squad differs a little bit. And then at 9 a.m., the whole team has a role play session. And the squad leaders rotate those role play sessions. Those happen 9 a.m. Every day during the week. We also have call days and nights that we do at least once a month where we gather the whole team together to make follow-up calls, and the squad leaders are required to attend that. We do leadership development training that Clayton or I do with them. You can do that as a team leader. That happens once a month. And then also helping to teach the new hire class. They're not responsible for the new hire class, but they're a teacher in one of the new hire modules. Our sales manager is the training coordinator in our organization. You eventually can separate out that function, but the sales manager is responsible for the overall new hire training. Squad leaders are responsible for training one of those modules. We also have them quarterly. Each squad leader attends our brokerage monthly meeting representing our team at the brokerage. They lead a bi-weekly sales meeting. So they attend all of our sales meetings, but we ask them to have some kind of leadership role each quarter in presenting something at the sales meeting. And then we also have them participate in our quarterly and our annual meetings, which are day-long meetings. The annual meeting is a 2-day meeting for our overall leadership team. And we also ask them we ask them to participate in that. And so that is pretty much what the position looks like. So before I go into qualifications for the ideal candidate for the squad leader, Clayton, anything to add?
Nope.
Okay, awesome. So our ideal squad leader, who's the person on your team that's an ideal squad leader? So you're going to have only 1 or 2 out of 10 of your agents that generally will have leadership capacity, that you can see the leadership in them. And you're a leader, you'll see the leadership potential in others, and you'll be able to identify them pretty easily. When you're small, people follow they follow the person that they want to be. And so if you're acting as a high capacity leader, if you are a high capacity leader, you're actually probably, when you're smaller, you might do like we've done, which is you actually a little bit more than 10 to 20% of your team has leadership potential when it's new. You might have 3 or 4 or 5 leaders with potential to become squad leaders when you're small, if you have a dozen people on your team that you're leading. But generally, as you grow, it's going to be 10 to 20%. So the ideal candidate has 4 qualities. Number 1, they demonstrate success as a sales agent. Like number 1, you have to be meeting your production goals. If they're not meeting their production goals, they are not going to be a good leader for other people. Squad leaders are not a position that you offer someone who's not doing well in production on your team. That's the wrong thing to do, right? That maybe there's an admin position for someone who came in and sales just wasn't the thing that they thought it was. But squad leader is definitely not the position for somebody who is not just a rock star in their own production. So that's number 1. Number 2 is they have to demonstrate an absolute commitment to your mission and core values. They have to demonstrate a commitment to your mission and core values. They have to bleed your brand. And if they don't, it's a mistake to put them in leadership, because there are things that you are giving them responsibility and authority to execute on that you're never going to know about. And what's going to happen is you're going to have, and I did this wrong, the biggest leadership mistake I ever made was hiring people who were not bought in to my mission and core values. This was a long time ago. It was before Clayton and my partnership, but it absolutely blew up my real estate team at the time, not in a good way. It destroyed my real estate team, because what happened was the people were all following mission and core values. While I was speaking at the sales meeting about this mission and core values, they were living this other mission and core values. And I just had a big leadership fail. I was the last one to know. And so that is, but I'll never forget it. I can share it with you, and hopefully you'll never forget it.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so that's where we learned that one for sure. Number 3 is they've got to be bought into your preferred partners. So we'll do another call at some time probably about having preferred vendors, mortgage and title and home warranty and all those. They've got to be bought into that, because that's how you fund your marketing budget. So they've got to be bought into the use of your preferred vendors, because again, it just won't happen otherwise. And lastly, they have to be willing to improve their own leadership skill. If you see leadership potential in them, they don't have to see the leadership potential. We've had lots of leaders who are like, "What, me? You think I'm a leader?" Like, nah. We've had lots of those that we have developed because they were willing to learn. But if they say to you, "Hey, listen, I don't think I really want to lead anything. I don't really have any interest in that. I just really want to meet my own production," then that's fine. That's a great agent to have. Don't have them lead, because they don't want to lead. And leadership is hard work. And so if they don't want to lead, then they're not the right candidate. Now we have people who say, "Hey, I don't really want to lead anything, but I'm happy to help out. I'm happy to coach an agent if you need help with that." Well, they make good mentors, right? There's a defined period of time where if they're doing your systems and processes correctly, if they're executing and living out your systems and process for a transaction correctly, and they just want to coach other agents, a mentor role can be really good for them. That's a separate role that has a defined beginning and end after the agent does their first few transactions. And you can't have clashing core values. They still have to match your core values, but they don't have to want to lead. They may not want the responsibility of leadership, and that's okay. They just want to be a coach. That's a good role for a mentor. So how do we select our squad members? So this is the piece that's actually really fun, that was kind of the cherry on top, the needle mover for us a few years ago that we were talking about. Our partner said, "Hey, this is what I do with my squads, and this is what you should do." And so the idea is that we're all not everybody gets along with everybody else, right? And you don't always know that you're not going to get along with somebody until you spend time with them. So and you either win, succeed, or you learn, right? Like we just said. And you may learn from that person that, "Hey, I really don't want a leader like that." Or as a leader, you may say, "Listen, that agent was just not a good fit for me. I don't want them again." Well, first of all, what we do is they're 90-day commitments. There's no squad leader, no team member who's committing to more than 90 days. So every calendar quarter, we put together our squads. We do competitions, friendly competitions within the squads, which drive real camaraderie within the squads during that 90 days. And then we completely wipe out the squad. We either invite the squad leader to come back or we don't. Most of the time we do. And the squad leader can decide they don't want to be a squad leader anymore. Most of the time they decide that they do want to continue to be a squad leader, but it's only a 90-day commitment, which also helps us when it comes to, we're not making squad leaders sign in blood that they're going to do that forever. We're just asking them to do it for 90 days, kind of see how it works out. And then if you can envision an NFL draft style deal with a dark back room, kind of smoke filled, where what's said in that room stays in that room. We do a draft style selection process right before the calendar quarter starts, and the squad leaders go around and pick who's going to be on their squad from the roster. We literally put the roster up on the screen. We pick who's going to be on the roster. Nobody wants to be the last kid picked on the playground, so that stays in the room, right? And the squads it keeps the squads fresh, keeps the competitions fresh, and keeps the squad leaders fresh, and the agents and the accountability huddles, keeps all of that from getting stale. And that was one of the biggest issues that I've had on teams in the past, and that has been just a game changer for us. Now, the pay for a squad leader. So if you give them all of the responsibility that I just shared, we pay ours $300 per transaction that goes pending, goes under contract during the 90 days that they're the squad leader. We pay that when it closes. So they're paid on every pending transaction for their squad when it closes, when it's pended during the time that they were on the squad. And so a lot of times those closings happen after the 90 days, of course. But if it pended during that 90 days, they're paid $300. They're not paid on their own production. That's their production. They're paid on the squad itself. We have squad competitions. For the most, we call it family served. Each transaction is a family served. And so we have squad competitions that we monitor throughout it's posted on the board actually every day. And then we shout out during the sales meeting about, hey, kind of who's in the lead on the squad competition. This amount varies. You can go higher or lower than this, but we take a $2,000 prize and we pay it out proportionate to each squad member's contribution. So if squad B won the competition for the most families served, and there were 5 people on squad B, and agent number 1 sold three transactions, agent number 2 sold 10, served 10 families, sold 10 homes, then agent number 2 would get paid proportionate to the 10. They'd get paid a lot more than the person who sold 3. So that's how we split that up. And the truth is, what I've learned with sales competitions in about 2 or 3 decades of sales management is it's not about the prize. It's about the ability, the bragging rights that we won the prize. And so that squad competition keeps everybody kind of moving toward the goal of serving more families and making an impact on our community. So that's what the squad leader looks like. That's how we select them. That's their expectations. That's how we pay them. And we kind of touched on this throughout, but why would a squad leader want to be a squad leader? Well, leaders want to lead. And, we talk about leadership development all the time. And the best way to develop a leader is to give them something to lead. So this is a perfect entry-level leadership position for someone who you see has leadership potential in your organization. And if you're like us, where there's levels beyond level 4, that person might end up being a sales manager or an office manager. They might end up being an expansion partner in a future office for you. And we'll do trainings on what those look like in the future also. But squad leaders are the key to growing small so that you can grow big. Squad leaders and mentors together help us to do that really well. And that's what we found as the secret ingredient, the missing ingredient in most people's real estate teams.
Great job, JT. And it's one of my mentors early on told me that, he said, Clayton, stop doing things your way and start doing things the right way. And so this is a proven model. You get to choose whether or not you want to implement a strategy like this into your business, of course, but we, and along with many other agents that run this model, many other team leaders, mega teams that have implemented the squad leader model, we've tried it. We've tried it the old way. And when you are scaling, it's really difficult to have one person managing many, many people, obviously, right? It's just like, John, why didn't we think of this earlier?
Right.
And so, so we hope, we hope that this provides some value for you. We hope, really, our sincere hope is that it helps you avoid some of the pitfalls and the headaches that John and I, we beat our heads up against the wall for years, because we were kind of failing forward, and then we found this new model. So we hope it provides some value. If you think it provided some value, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and we'll keep these as we continue. Not only what we've done in the past, we're going to share some of these successes with us and some of our failures as well, so you can avoid those. But also what we're working on and what we're going to continue to work on. So again, if you like what you see and what you hear, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the like button, and let's grow. We'll see you soon.
Let's grow.